Hey guys, my name's Zach,
My name is Justin.
and we're here to tell you guys about different parts, materials that you're going to use on your robot, and also some of the different websites that you'll have to go look for your different parts. So,
The first parts that you're going to need are wheels. This is a standard wheel. It's got good traction, but it's not very good for turning. Next, we have an Omni wheel. This doesn't have as much traction, but it's also very good for turning since it has the rollers. And then last, we have the Mecanum wheels, which these are good pretty much only on flat surfaces. They have to be in constant contact. They're good for strafing.
some of the first other things you're going to need to make your wheels run are motors. We usually use the Go Builda Yellow Jacket series. They come in a wide variety of different RPMs, as you can see here, anywhere from 6,000 to 30, and it also changes their torque and outputs for that. And our other means of rotation for most other uses would be a servo. Now, the big difference between a motor and a servo is that when motors do not have power then directly supplied to them, they do not hold a position. So if you have a weight-bearing load at a arm, like on an extension connected to a motor, the motor will drop the arm and it will go back to its lowest point of gravity. With a servo, the servo will not drop your arm. It fights to keep it up, and so the servo is good for if you have a something they need to keep at an angle but still be able to move. Servos would be better suited for this. And Go Builda sells servos, and these are the ones we usually use. This year they're selling a torque version, a speed version, a super speed version. And you can also buy high-tech servos, which are Go Builda, but just a little bit different.
Next up, we have the websites that you're going to be looking at for parts. This is Rev. We usually get sensors and the rest of our electronics from them. Then we have Go Builda. They are mostly for motors, servos, and wheels.
Other websites that you might look at that we do not have access to right now are Servo City and AndyMark. Servo City is where we do actually buy a lot of stuff. We usually buy most of our stuff on Servo City, especially our motors. They carry a lot of the Go Builda parts, but they also carry a lot of Actobotics, which is the main patterns that we use on our robots is Actobotics. And so definitely look at Servo City for other parts. AndyMark is also good for some motors and some other sensors. But when you go to one of these sites, usually, especially for like Rev, if you go to competition, you go to FTC, it'll pop up a screen like this, and it'll give you the game elements. Since Rev does do a lot of the game elements for FTC, so does AndyMark. You can buy kits, bundles. You can buy structure pieces such as X-rails, brackets, channels. You can buy what we do. Probably a lot of our electronics, our sensors, our hubs, our connectors. You can buy different wheels, some other items, some chain breakers, some motors. And you can also buy hardware such as shafts, tubing, screws, bolts, wire, or like cord, or anything that uses a string of some type. Go Builda has the exact same thing. You got structure will be your chassis, motion will be your wheels, servos, etc. Electronics will be your wiring, hardware will be your nuts and bolts, and your kits will be your kits. Moving on, we have tools.
Most of the tools that we use are just small handheld tools, hex keys, pliers, wrenches, and screwdrivers. but we also sometimes use the machines that you see in Hernandez's room, in his room, like the bandsaw and the drill press. We also use other means to attach parts to our robot, like zip ties and Velcro. Zip ties will be much more permanent than Velcro, and Velcro will be something like batteries that you're going to be switching out fairly often.
Also, we use a CNC machine if you ever have to really create a custom part that is very intricate. And finally, most of the materials you're going to be using is going to be aluminum. That's what a lot of the screws, channels, brackets, a lot of what you're going to be handling is aluminum. Your shafts are usually going to be solid steel, so if there's ever a time you need to get a shaft cut down to a certain size, that has to be done in the metal shop. You will also work with Lexan acrylics, acrylic boards, Lexan boards, and those are usually cut down to size for smooth surfaces, or sometimes they're bent and they're used for different purposes, and they also can be drilled into a lot easier for custom parts. You're also going to probably use rubber if you ever have to like grip something you put on the outside of a wheel on a part. And we also use foam for space filling and keeping stuff in place when we don't want it to move. We'll usually use foam in conjunction with like zip ties or something to keep something at bay. And that is it. So if you guys ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to Hernandez and or one of us if we ever get to meet you guys. So have a good day.